Hi, Mom.
Hi, Megan.
We're here for chapter 6 of the Tao Te Ching, Sacred Soul Mornings. Two generations, one
Yay.
microphone, a little bit of filters. Let's get it.
And this is how we have fun. So, anyway.
Fun. We're fun people.
I don't know if everybody would think so, but we know how to have fun in the morning. Okay.
Anybody, if anybody has any, wants to have any testament about our interests, this is it.
And we are having fun.
So chapter 6 is a teeny weeny chapter. It's
It
so
is.
full of the Tao Te Ching. It is the teeniest ever.
Uh-oh.
One, two,
Yeah.
three, four, five, six. I have 6 lines. And in mine,
And wait a minute.
yes, mine's called the Valley of the Spirit. Do you want me to read mine? And then you can read yours?
No, I want to read mine.
Okay, this is
I
good.
found, I just turned it
Got
on.
the commentary version of the Tao Te Ching, and I have one that's a little bit more literal. So it's good to have those both.
So, and it's always interesting how the titles of the chapters are a little bit different because of that, what Megan is saying. And so, anyway,
Sometimes
here we
they're
go.
completely opposite, but
But then,
yeah.
yes, the mother of all, everything that exists was born of the feminine principle within the Tao. This mysterious principle can be called the mother of all. There is no need to weary ourselves in an effort to find her. She is ever with us because she is us.
Well,
So
that's
that's
cool.
one. And I know, would you like for me to go ahead and just talk a little bit about some of the stuff? Like we had talked earlier today, a little bit about the mountain and do you want me to do that right now? Okay. And then we can go on in. So,
Yes. Can I read mine real quick? Just the
yes.
words. And then I do want to go back because mine has the valley and you can go talk about the mountain and the valley.
Okay. There
How
you
about
go.
that? Let me read my
I
dry
like it.
version.
Okay.
It says the valley spirit. The valley spirit never dies. The mystic feminine, the gate of the mystic feminine, the root of heaven and earth, like a soft silken fiber, can be used without end. Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's get deeper.
Yeah. And that just made me think of some things that I read yesterday. Uh, and anyway, but I wrote down some different things, but they're the same too. Okay. And so Lao says not to be a seeker, but be a finder. I thought that was interesting. Don't be seeking, just find it. It's here.
Hmm.
It's not something you have to seek. Nothing to seek, everything is here. Um, and then so this was called the spirit of the valley. This that we don't have, it's already here. It's here. That was one commentary. I know that and then my own thought that I put down here after was reading about that was Psalm 23. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. And I just thought, golly, there's a
About
connection.
that. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
About there being the word valley stuck in that. I never thought about it before.
No, me either until this. So many
The
connections.
womb, the womb.
Well, and
I
that
know
too.
about the shadow of death in the womb. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
shadow of death. It's not, boy, we're gonna have to think about that one more sometime.
Yeah. So this source, or this commentary reveals that the mysterious female, like in your what you read, has nothing to do with gender.
Mhm.
However, the female represents eternal. I thought that was interesting. For example, the general masculine represents boldness and aggression, like mountains. And like doing yoga, you do the mountain pose, and it's strong and it's you know, bold.
Yeah, and
But
it's
then,
creative force. They have to
mhm,
make mountains.
yeah, and that is absolutely true too. I didn't even think about that connection. But in time, mountains erode down into the valley. So here we're talking about geology again. But in time, mountains erode down into the valley. But so they aren't there anymore, but the valley is still there. So this thing that is always here. Um, when I drop it all away. Oh, I know. Like, here was another little thought that was in that commentary. Like, I am not my body. I am not my gender. I am not, the who I am is not all these external things necessarily. So when I drop it all away, all that is left is nothing, not really nothing, but the mysterious female. And I put a little note of it, that our spirit, because I'm trying to put into words that I can understand. So when all else falls away, we're still spirit, or this the root of heaven and earth.
It's
It's something.
yeah.
The what?
This knowing, you're still this knowing, you're still this awareness.
Being aware.
Yeah.
And what was it that you had read from yours about the root? Did you read something calling the root of heaven and earth? Or something. Anyway, and saying that there's heaven and then there's solid earth and then there's
Oh,
heaven,
just
but
me
it's this,
talking. Yeah.
this that is in between the physical, I guess, earthness and then the
In the dark, in the roots, in the yeah.
oh,
Yeah, we were talking about that while I was driving around the like last week.
okay.
Everything's born out of darkness. Everything's born out of
Mhm.
yeah, because the spring's coming and we're thinking about that. And
And seeds.
yeah, it's just it's so hard. It's easy for us now, but I am trying to put myself back in maybe 10 years ago or whatever. It's so hard anytime you hear that word. You're like, oh, when I strip it all away, who am I? I mean, first of all, that's hard anyway. Then you said the divine feminine. What did you say?
I
Mystical,
said,
the
hang on just a second. Mysterious female,
curious
this person said.
female. Yeah. And so you're saying that because you are a female, we're females sitting here. Our bodies are female. We identify as female. So it might be easy to mistake that we're saying us and not men. Like if a man was sitting here and said that, like my husband. But you're saying everyone. And
Everyone. Although I have to admit,
it's hard to,
when I read the title, The Mother of
I
All,
know.
being a female, we go, finally,
I know.
you know,
Yes. Finally. Oh, good.
but
We
we
found a divine feminine book, right? And we've
can't
read
help
through
but
all
smile.
those books. Yeah. We've read through all those books. But
It's everything and everyone.
everything and everyone, it's just that we're trying to use language to capture concepts. And
Yeah.
so there are some concepts that are duality in nature, and masculine and feminine are a great language attempt, right?
And where are and I'm thinking of something that we'll discuss later, but where the parts work together to make the whole,
Yes.
which is better than the parts by themselves. And it seems like we have said that, something like that in every one of these.
Yes, but Lao Tzu
But
himself, when he was whoever that was, this wise old man, when he was writing this, because we've read it before, every chapter is pretty much the same thing. In
kind
general,
of,
for the at
yeah,
least
in
that
general. Mhm. Well, and then I'll be finished with this little part here, okay?
one.
That
Okay.
I gathered. So another translation says, the mother of all, from which the whole world springs. And then Lao, the person, praised female qualities of giving, not taking, humble, not proud, yielding, not forcing, feminine qualities. It doesn't mean just about, and every person has all the qualities.
They're
So,
trying to use language. Yeah, and we'll talk more deep about that feminine versus masculine because it's like even when you're saying it and we're both going, "Oh, is that really what it means?" Because it's so hard, but at the same time, you're like, "Yes, it does. I am a happy female. I am divine female." That's just because it means so squished. Mm-mm.
yeah, yeah. And so the this person said that was probably not popular with Lao. The Chinese population probably didn't really all agree with him saying that back then, just like some might not now because of that whatever, that pride of, oh, I'm a man or oh, I'm a woman or whatever.
All you gotta do is watch that Mulan movie again, and you'll get that. No, I just watched that last night,
Yeah.
the live action one again.
Mhm.
Deep little messages in there. Um, but anyway, I was so I last time we talked about this a little bit. I got kind of stuck on a specific symbol in my brain now. Well,
Mhm,
this
mhm.
played out. And I know we talked about the yin yang symbol. But to me, in summertime, when I was a young girl, before probably, I don't know, how old was I when we started doing that? When I was like or maybe 7 to like 15
Yeah.
or something.
Hmm.
So in summers, I would
Yeah.
go to Korean culture camp, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Not Korean. We have a family member who is. And so I got to go too. And I got to be myself there. There weren't a lot of people like me. But anyway, it was great. I didn't think about it too much till I got older. So at Korean
Mhm.
culture camp, we would have to do things for a while, during the week, like history lessons on the turtle ship or whatever, or like food, or, we had to write our names with the brushes and things like that and how to pronounce the alphabet. In our history class, we had to study the flag. The flag was a really big deal, the South Korean flag. And apparently, it's a newer flag. They only invented this flag like in the 1800s, and then they didn't use it until South Korea became its own country. Um, what?
My cat's
Oh, your
meow.
cat's listening. Anyway, so it was an important
Sorry.
flag. It says it was in 1948. Okay, 1948. So on this flag, we had to know what each one of those little symbols meant on the corners, and we had to know the whole thing. It was just like regular history class, but on this flag. And there was a huge emphasis placed on, the balance of the red and the blue. And so they chose to do that instead of like white and black that you might see. And they said that the red was, the masculine energy and the blue was the feminine energy. And I learned from a young age that had nothing to do with males and females. And then the four symbols on the side are the four elements. And the white is about harmony, and it's just a beautiful flag. I kind of am a little jealous of their flag. Not that I don't love our flag, but gosh, what symbolism is behind that flag and thought when they made it. Um, anyway, and so I'm going to talk specifically what those mean because this is a new concept to us um, in fundamentalist Christianity that masculine and feminine may not mean male and female. And so when you take the book like the Bible literally with male and female, we never thought it could have a different meaning. So, studying the Tao Te Ching and some of these other ideas help us think that there's probably symbolism in there. So, like the blue, the yin is more like passivity, darkness, feminine, earth, intuition. And the yang, the red, is more like activity, light, masculine, heaven, and logic. Um, yeah, it's just interesting to think of. And so you want to be balanced within yourself and within a
Every person.
society with both.
Hmm.
Because if you're not, you like I think they literally think you'll be sick even, and you probably will be like is Eastern medicine is even based on the idea that that is balanced. Your chi, which is all your chi is all. That's the life force energy. It needs to be balanced. And when it's not, you got things out of whack, right? And you get sick. Is your cat doing stuff?
Sorry. She's not done
Oh,
this before. She's trying to get over here and be
it's your
in the middle.
tail. So Taekwondo, that was part of our summer classes with Taekwondo. My kids do karate now, but we don't really study too much about this stuff. But in Taekwondo, we kind of talked in theory with these older Korean men and women about balancing the inner and outer chi. And so
Hmm.
for me, coming from a different world, it's just, I'm glad I had those seeds planted in
Hmm.
my psyche to think about later.
Yeah, sure. Has been a part of shaping you. Well, I won't use that word shaping, but have been a part of
Yeah.
your personality, your
Undam
character.
I don't know. Yeah, it has. It's influenced me for
Hmm.
sure. Um, But this is not unknown in the Western world either. So, like Carl Jung talks about the ego and the shadow, but sometimes we have negative connotations about that. We think, oh, shadow work. I need to integrate my shadow. Like something needs to be either eradicated or something bad. But it's not. It's not your bad things. Um, it's what's It's what's under everything. I don't know how to explain that better. Like it's like your beliefs, your habits, um, things that you don't recognize that you even believe. That's what your shadow is. That's your subconscious, right? You
Mhm.
think about that mountain, it's the underneath part of the mountain, or the iceberg, it's the under, and the other part,
Mhm.
the showing part, is the ego.
Mhm.
That's like the thinking, analyzing, making choices part. But you
Mhm.
can't have one without the other.
Mhm.
When we make choices, they're always based on our subconscious beliefs.
Mhm. I know. I'm just now thinking, I wish I knew where I searched and searched and searched where I had read uh, a book that, and we had talked about it before, but about the subconscious and the conscious, or the ego and the subconscious, or okay, let me go back. Conscious and subconscious. And that was, people would use words like masculine and feminine to describe those. Like the conscious would be the masculine, with some of those things like the logical thinking, like the Korean flag kind of talked about. And then the uh, subconscious was more the feminine, but more about the instincts and uh, whatever. And
Never not seen, and it's even hard for us to put it into words.
mhm,
Just like the earth, the seed planting is the ego, but all the nutrients and everything that's going on behind the scenes in the dark, you know, that's the subconscious, right? In the earth. It's
mhm.
growing that. You have to have all of it together. You have to have all of it together, or it doesn't grow into anything.
Let me, and my thoughts just jumped around, but I wanted to share this one little thing here. And I was looking at some things, trying to find connections in the Bible about love. What is love? But anyway, but one thing that I read that kind of goes with this too, um, sincere love. God's love is like a river, the real love of God. I don't know why I'm saying that.
Not conditional love, right?
Not the conditional love, although God isn't supposed to have conditional love. However, you're supposed to do this and that and something else. Anyway, so the real love, God's love is like a river. The deeper you are in it, and I thought this was so interesting, the more it will carry you in its flow. Those who are loved well, love well. And then the next thought was just live loved. And I guess with me, I am trying to grow more and more into the fact of that kind of love. I want to believe that God has that kind of love for me. And I want to live loved. And so sometimes when I am stressing, whatever, about something, and I want to be in the flow, I'll just say, I'm loved. And I'm meaning this,
You're seen. You're seen, and that things are not out of control. I mean, right? It's
and
not
that,
a feeling of like I'm loved, like if
no,
things are in control. I'm
things are,
I'm held. I'm held.
and I'm where supposed to be, exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
And and to trust that thing that we're having a hard time explaining, which I call God, but it's more than just saying the word God.
Or the chi force,
Or
maybe.
the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to read that little part. I thought that was
Where was that from?
that's from
I
that person that I refer to a whole lot, that I listen to podcasts of. I don't know if you
can say it.
okay, Wayne Jacobson.
Maybe he'll let us talk and flounder around about things someday.
I get a lot of
I like listening to Wayne Jacobson. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
okay.
he's I had that to put into, because that's where he's had a journey.
Art, he's on his journey too. He's about to river himself into the flow.
And he's and because of that, he's found connections that I are resonating, you
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah. Resonating. Resonating. We say that all.
Oh boy, and now we think that vibration. Okay.
It's true though.
Oh,
So, so back to the conscious and the unconscious, we were talking about the Bible and oh, I can't even say in traditional ways. I don't even know if that's true in traditional interpretations of the Bible. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it was traditionally written that way. I kind of thinking it probably wasn't. So how about in modern US interpretation of the Bible? Maybe modern United States? I don't know if this is the same everywhere. That masculine and feminine means literal stuff, but everyone does not think so. And almost every one of them little passages where things have a deeper meaning as, he who has ears, let him hear. And you're like, oh, I think that means something. Maybe I ought to listen again. It means something deeper than this literal interpretation. But anyway, I was talking to you about the verse in Proverbs, which is not New Testament. Um, that's okay. Someone recorded it and said this is important. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So when you are balanced and your subconscious, um, your beliefs, your thoughts, and your ego, my little yin yang,
mhm,
are balanced, you become that person, regardless if you try to be good or bad. It's your thoughts. I talk to my students about this all the time and my children, but even my students, because we talk about perspective shifting a lot and taking other people's perspectives, which is a goal for them. But how do you teach that without this deeper level stuff? I don't know how anybody else is. And I try not to teach it too deep, but really what you are putting in your mind makes you you. If you and it's okay if you like Stephen King. I like Stephen King. But if you're watching, did we talk about this last time on here or just with you? I can't remember. But if you're watching the Stephen King It movies, right? Every time you go down the street, you're going to think about how something's going to grab you out of a grate. If you've never watched that, that thought doesn't come to your mind. Anyway, that's all. So, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is, regardless of hiding and trying to be a good person. It's what you put your thoughts on. So, we were talking about how this is changing us by doing this Tao Te Ching thing. This is forcing us week by week to go through this and talk in a Socratic method of learning.
mhm.
It's changing us outwardly and inwardly. It's unreal. Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. Boy, there's a lot of potential inside our hearts, isn't there?
Mhm. And so then the writer of this, using the word heart, was probably meaning this
Feminine.
awareness, this spiritual spiritness that when everything else falls away, that's what we are,
Yeah, and it's has
and we are that now.
ability. It
Mm.
has ability. It's not just
Now, yeah.
this thing that's inside that floats around. It's saying this mechanical engine of manifestation is inside you, possibly. I said the word.
You did. And I'll go back to that little
There's so
little
many.
word now, but and what I mean by that is what you said, but it's like all that potential, all that energy or whatever it is not someday when we die and all the other falls away and then we have it. We have it now
Right now.
with all that potential now.
Yeah.
And
Change your life now. To
yeah,
change now, your experience of life now, to make
and
it more
with
pleasant for you now.
more joy, more peace. Um,
Well, it says the kingdom of God is within. I mean, I don't know how else that was ever interpreted. I can't wrap my brain around it. I guess we didn't talk about it. I don't know what that meant. The kingdom
yeah.
of our, I know what it means now, but I don't know what in the world it meant then. Um, so seeds. Seeds are thoughts. Thoughts are seeds that go into our little subconscious fertile soil, right? And they have the opportunity to grow. Like we were talking about the Wright brothers right before we got on this call, about how even on that kind of very basic level of manifestation, of creation, somebody in that family, though I like to imagine those brothers sitting around talking, right? At night, they're talking, they're talking. But somebody at night was laying around in bed, like all of us do that have great ideas and inventions. You lay in bed and you're like trying to figure it out. Like I can even think when I was trying to figure out knitting versus, like this different stitches of knitting, and it had reached a level where my brain couldn't figure it out. And I'm laying in bed and I'm like, what? world. And it finally, I could see that mechanical process. I'm like purling over and under. It made sense in my mind. I'm sure the Wright brothers were like, oh, that's it, finally. That's the
Mhm.
idea. It happened in the darkness, probably of night. It came from that feminine energy. Uh,
Mhm.
and they had belief that they could build a flying machine. And they kept trying, and they failed a lot. They failed a lot. They were doing something really dangerous, and they even got themselves in it and decided they were going to do it because they had enough belief. They were like, let's do it and hope we're not going to crash. I can't even imagine actually how exciting that would have been for them to have done that. How silly. But they did it. And now
Mhm.
we have planes. But it was born out of that place with the belief. So in the Bible, if we think of seeds as thoughts, we got to talk about the parable of the sower,
Mhm.
Matthew 13. It's important to talk about that. So just if you have a thought about this verse of being about people being saved or not saved or going to heaven or not going to heaven, scrub your mind for a moment. Just go like this, scrub it and be fresh for a second. It's for a
Mhm.
second. And if you want to, and if you don't, that's okay too. Um, but if you want to hang in, and is it okay if I read it a little? The parable.
Yes, please do.
Of course, I love that Jesus later on goes, here, this is it explained. But we'll talk about it. I only got like 10 minutes. Behold, the sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell beside the road, and the birds came and ate them up. Others fell in the rocky places where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun had risen, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. And others fell in the good soil and yielded a crop, some a hundredfold, some 60, and some 30. Here's the key. He who has ears, let him hear. That means there's something deeper. And then just in case we didn't get it, later on, Jesus goes, this is what it means. In verse 18, that always cracks me up when the Bible's like that. It's like, just in case you didn't get it, here it goes. Um, when anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one, the doubter, comes and snatches it away. What has been sown in his heart, this is the one whom the seed was sown beside the road. So this is when you have ideas of the kingdom, of the flow, or whatever, good ones, good ideas about airplanes, and you don't understand it, it just goes, whoosh, it's gone. And then when someone has a seed sown in rocky places, this is the man who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy, but he has no firm root in himself. He has no belief. He has no belief. And it's only temporary because whenever bad things start happening to him, it immediately goes whoosh, gone again. I think of this for me in my life as like about health or about money troubles. It's really easy to get into that pattern of going, well, yeah, I believe in this. I believe I'm worthy. I believe I will get good things. I believe I have a great life. I believe this. But I was born in the wrong family. But I'm born in the wrong country. I'm born in the wrong state. I'm born in this wrong place, wrong house, and you can go to this doubt thing. And our culture enhances the doubts. We like the doubts. The news is all about the doubts. And that's when that thought is taken right away. And then the one whom the seed was sown among the thorns, okay, that's more. I think I said that. I don't remember. Anyway, the worries of the world, it chokes them out. Same thing. But when it's sown on good soil, so soil, subconscious with beliefs that align, that man who hears the word and understands it bears fruit. So meaning brought into existence. That means you can do something. Um, and then anyway, I just think that's amazing that it aligns. It aligns with the Tao Te Ching. It doesn't
Mhm.
not align with the Tao Te Ching.
Mhm. Not, it doesn't, it's not, they're not against each other, you
No,
know.
it's not. And it's
Yeah.
such I'm going to say the word, but gosh, we were talking about this too. It's such a peaceful way of understanding the Bible.
Yeah. It's making it more peaceful. And just mentioning, I was mentioning about another podcast person that I listen to, Wayne Dyer. But anyway, sometimes, but the one I listened to this morning for a little bit was just saying that you have to take, or not you have to take, but for him, that you have to have quiet time and that you need to meditate or think upon these things. And I'm so grateful to be doing this with you because that's making me be still enough and to think about these things. And I think that fruit's happening.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm the good soil. I'm just what I'm doing is I'm
Have to
cultivating the
prep
good.
the soil.
Yeah, I'm cultivating the good soil. I hope.
Well,
That's what my hope.
what you're thinking on, and yeah, for
Because
sure.
all of us, if we're honest with ourselves, have felt like the thorns. We have felt like the poor soil or whatever the other ones were, the lack of faith and the lack of, we all have felt that way if we're honest with ourselves. So it's a growth. It's a growing thing, cultivating.
We all feel that way. That's why it was written down and saved so that people would have keys to live their lives less miserably. That's
Yeah.
all they were doing. They were saying, hey, look, I've been through this and I've got a key to help it be less miserable. That's all Lao Tzu was doing. That's all Matthew was doing there. That's all Jesus was doing was say, hey, guys, you really don't have to be miserable.
Yeah.
And somehow some of those things have been used to make people feel really miserable.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
Live loved.
feminine thing.
So
Uh,
do we have a minute to look at,
yeah.
to
To
take a peek at next week?
Yeah, but I just wanted to add in there. I'm not going to talk about it today, but there, any of those verses we've been talking privately on our own. I'm not talking about them today, about the males and the females, especially in Corinthians or
Oh,
Timothy.
yeah.
We've, I'm not going to talk about them.
Ah,
We don't have time.
oh, okay. Next time we might have to squeeze it in.
But they're not outliers either. Those verses are not outliers either to this way of thinking. They are not talking about women being complimentary or needing to have their heads covered or hair longs or whatever. It is not talking about that. Um, that's all.
Oh, I wish we had more time because it's very
Own
important.
thing. That's its own thing.
Okay.
But this is the Tao Te Ching. So do you want to talk about the next chapter? Is that what your plan is?
I was just going to see what the title was. The Watcher.
I have to make sure I can pronounce that word before I say it.
Do you have a word?
Oh, I'll figure it out by the time you read The Watcher.
The Watcher.
It's called The Watcher?
Yeah. Chapter 7.
Oh, mine doesn't say that.
And then the other little thing, therefore, when they arise, we watch. When they pass away, we remain.
Mm.
So we'll have to investigate about that.
Okay. So I'm assuming this has to do with awareness, the watcher. Mine does not say that.
But
I,
then Lao said, don't seek, but look and see, but just find. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, be a finder.
fore and aft. Is that how you say it? Not aft, aft, fore and aft. Um, I'm going to read it real quick. Heaven and earth last, they endure. They do not give birth to other heavens, to other earths, they endure. The Taoist puts self aft and self in fore is for. Treats self as a thing outside and self endures. Treats self as a thing not personal and person is fulfilled. All right,
All
I'm going
right.
to think
Yeah.
on that because at the moment that's interesting, but I have questions. I'll have to think on it. But I guess I'm not going to seek. I'm just going to think on it and I would find because that's how it happens. It just, and then you grab some down and they stay and they resonate or they don't. You just let them pass. That's how you spend your everyday. Should.
Mhm.
And then you stick them in some good soil and they bear fruit.
But not by effort. By yeah.
Effort, not by effort. Ah,
Yeah.
not by effort. Is that it for today?
Is it?
I
Is
think
the
so.
time up?
Yeah, we only got 1 minute left.
Okay. Well, enjoyed it. And so the next time then.
Something to chew on for another week. Yeah. Remember, life's a journey, not a checklist. Breathe deep, laugh loud, and trust the ride. Thank you.
All right, next time. Bye.